There's a moment in football where one player simply decides that the ball is not getting past him. No matter how many shots come in, no matter how much pressure builds, he just keeps saying no. That's exactly what happened in Los Angeles, when a 33-year-old goalkeeper from a small village in western Iran, the scoreboard read 0-0. Nothing got through. So what's really happening here? And how did one man almost single-handedly deny one of the most talented squads in this tournament? Let's set the stage properly. Iran came into this Group G match against Belgium already carrying a difficult World Cup experience off the pitch. They'd opened with a wild 2-2 draw against New Zealand, a result that left their coaching staff frustrated, not because of the football itself, but because of everything happening around the football. We'll get into those details a little later, because they matter enormously to understanding just how special this performance from Beiranvand really was. On paper, this looked like a mismatch. Belgium arrived ranked 10th in the world, packed with players from the biggest clubs in Europe. Kevin De Bruyne orchestrating attacks, Yuri Tielemans pulling strings in midfield, Lukaku leading the line. This is a golden generation of Belgian talent that many believe still has unfinished business on the international stage. Iran, meanwhile, came in as massive underdogs, a team many assumed would be making up the numbers in Group G. Here's where things get interesting. From almost the opening whistle, Belgium dominated the ball. They strung together pass after pass, probing for gaps, testing Iran's shape. And yet, every time they found that final opening, every time the ball arrived in a dangerous position, there was Beiranvand, standing tall at 6'4", somehow always in the right place. The drama actually started before the match even settled into any rhythm. Just 3 minutes in, Beiranvand took an accidental but brutal knee to the chest and neck from Lukaku during a goalmouth scramble. He went down immediately and stayed down for several minutes while medical staff worked on him. For anyone who has followed Iranian football closely, this moment carried a particular weight. 4 years earlier, almost an identical scenario had played out for Beiranvand in a World Cup opener against England, when a head collision forced him out of the match entirely, and Iran collapsed to a 6-2 defeat. Everyone watching in that stadium, every Iranian supporter glued to a screen back home, felt that same sense of dread returning. But this time was different. He got back up. His teammates later admitted just how relieved they were. One of his defenders said simply that it wasn't good for the team in that moment, but that Beiranvand is a strong man and that he knew he would get back up. And get back up he did, delivering arguably the finest 90 minutes of his international career. Now let's go through exactly what this man did, because the sheer volume of quality stops deserves to be broken down save by save. Early in the match, De Kuiper found himself with a close-range opportunity off a deflected rebound, and Beiranvand reacted instinctively to deny him. Minutes later, Belgium's captain, Tielemans, unleashed a powerful strike from distance, and again, the towering goalkeeper got down to parry it away. Before halftime, Tielemans and De Kuiper combined once more, this time with a volley that looked destined for the corner, only for Iran's number 1 to stand tall and block it again. That's 3 world-class saves before the interval alone, against a team controlling the run of play almost entirely. But the moment that will be replayed for years came just after the hour mark. Belgium had been reduced to 10 men by that point, after a red card changed the entire complexion of the match. But rather than wilting under the extra space, Belgium actually generated their best chance of the entire afternoon. A ball deflected into the box found De Kuiper standing just a few feet from an open net, with Beiranvand still down on the ground from the previous action. By every normal expectation, that ball goes in. Instead, somehow, stretched out flat on the grass, Beiranvand extended his left arm and got a hand to the ball, stopping it dead in front of the goal line before gathering it in. Players inside that stadium simply stood there in disbelief. It was the kind of save that turns a goalkeeper into a folk hero overnight. He wasn't done either. Late in the match, De Kuiper tried again, forcing yet another vital intervention, as Iran somehow protected that clean sheet all the way to the final whistle. 7 saves in total, 4 of them diving stops. 3 of them high claims under heavy pressure, with statistical models suggesting he denied close to 2 expected goals worth of Belgian opportunities. He was named player of the match, and few neutral observers disagreed with the decision. Even Belgium's own goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, who had a fine match of his own on the other end, openly admitted afterward that Iran's goalkeeper had simply played a great game and that Belgium had enough chances to win but couldn't find a way past him. So who exactly is this man who turned into an octopus under the Los Angeles lights, and how did he get here? His story is one of the most remarkable in this entire tournament, and it deserves real attention. Alireza Beiranvand was born in 1992 in a small village near Horemabad, in Iran's mountainous Loristan province, into a nomadic Kurdish Lok family of shepherds. As the eldest child, he spent his early years herding livestock across rugged terrain, moving with the seasons in search of pasture. Football for him started almost as an accident. He played as a striker in local games and competed in a traditional stone-throwing contest called Dal Paran, a game that, without anyone realizing it at the time, was quietly building the extraordinary arm strength that would later make him one of the most unique goalkeepers on the planet.
At around 12 years old, Beiranvand made a decision that would define the rest of his life. He ran away from home and traveled to Tehran, chasing a dream that had no guarantee of ever working out. What followed wasn't glamorous. He slept rough, he worked in a factory, he cleaned cars, specializing in SUVs because of his unusual height. He worked in a pizza restaurant, he cleaned streets. This wasn't a brief rough patch before stardom. This was years of genuine hardship for a kid with nothing but a dream and a strong left arm. His break came in 2011 when he earned a contract with Naft Tehran, finally getting the chance to play organized senior football. He became the club's first-choice goalkeeper and helped them to a third-place league finish, a remarkable achievement for the club at the time. Over 5 seasons there, he developed steadily, drawing attention from bigger clubs across the country. In 2016, Persepolis, one of the giants of Iranian football, signed him on a free transfer, and that's where his career truly exploded. He set a domestic record of over 700 minutes without conceding a goal. He won 3 consecutive Golden Glove awards as the league's best goalkeeper. He helped Persepolis reach an Asian Champions League final, making a stunning save off a header from Xavi Hernandez along the way. By 2019, he was named Iran's Footballer of the Year, an extraordinary honor for a goalkeeper in a country that, like most of the football world, tends to reserve its biggest individual awards for strikers and playmakers. He earned a move to Europe in 2020, joining Belgian side Royal Antwerp of all clubs, before a loan spell in Portugal with Boavista. Of course, given what just happened on the field in Los Angeles, there's a wonderfully ironic detail buried in that chapter of his career. The same country whose attack he just shut down for 90 minutes once gave him his European education. He returned to Persepolis in 2022, added more league titles to his collection, and then, in 2024, made the move to Tractor, where he's continued winning, including a league title in his very first season with the club. Internationally, Beiranvand made his Iran debut in 2015 and has gone on to earn well over 80 caps, becoming the country's long-serving number 1 across 3 consecutive World Cup cycles. He represented Iran at the 2018 tournament in Russia, where he produced one of the most iconic moments of his career, saving a penalty from Cristiano Ronaldo in a memorable draw with Portugal. 4 years later, in Qatar, his tournament ended early and painfully after that head collision against England, a frightening scene that drew heavy criticism over how it was handled in the moment. This matters because it adds real emotional weight to what just happened in Los Angeles. A goalkeeper who watched his previous World Cup end in a hospital bed, returning at 33 years old to deliver arguably the best individual performance of this entire tournament so far. That's not just a good match, that's a redemption story written in real time. Now let's talk about something that makes this performance even more impressive, and it has nothing to do with what happened on the pitch. Iran's preparation heading into this World Cup has been anything but normal.
Reports from inside the camp indicate that Iran's travel schedule between matches has been unusually tight compared to other competing nations. Rather than settling into a host city days in advance like most teams, Iran has been operating out of a training base across the border in Mexico, making short trips into the United States close to match day and departing almost immediately afterward. The numbers here matter. Iran's coaching staff had planned for roughly 24 hours in Los Angeles before their match against Belgium to allow for a proper training session and recovery period. Instead, reports indicate the squad had considerably less time than planned, forcing the team to cut a training session short. Compare that to Belgium, who reportedly arrived in the city with a full extra day to settle in, train at the venue, and recover from their previous match. Head coach Amir Galanoui addressed this directly before the Belgium match, explaining that these scheduling constraints have made proper preparation extremely difficult for his players. He pointed out that his team has had to adapt on the fly, training under time pressure that other squads in this tournament simply haven't had to deal with. Think about what that means for a goalkeeper specifically. Shot stopping at this level isn't just instinct, it's repetition, rhythm, and recovery. Reflexes need rest to sharpen. Reading angles, positioning, footwork under fatigue, all of it depends on a normal training cycle. Beiranvand and his teammates have been managing match-level intensity with a fraction of the preparation time that's standard at this level of competition. And yet, somehow, in spite of all of it, Beiranvand delivered the standout individual performance of Group G to this point. If anything, knowing the circumstances makes those 7 saves even harder to fully comprehend. This wasn't a goalkeeper operating in ideal conditions with a full week of rest and tactical work behind him. This was a 33-year-old produced almost entirely from grit, experience, and raw shot-stopping instinct, holding off one of Europe's most dangerous attacking lineups with what amounted to an abbreviated preparation window. There's also a human side to how this squad has responded to the pressure. After the draw with Belgium, Iran's players reportedly left a handwritten note in their locker room, thanking their supporters, reflecting on what it meant to represent their country on this stage, despite everything working against them logistically. Midfielder Alireza Beiranvand said afterward that the feeling in that dressing room was one of pride, that the players felt they had shown real team spirit, even acknowledging they might have deserved more than a single point given how the match unfolded. So where does this leave Iran heading into the final round of Group G? The point against Belgium puts Team Melli at 2 points from 2 matches, sitting second in the group, level on points with Belgium, but ahead on goals scored. Egypt currently lead the group with 4 points, while New Zealand sit at the bottom with 1. Everything will be decided in Iran's final group match against Egypt, with a top 2 finish enough to send them through to the round of 32 for the first time in the country's World Cup history. Think about the magnitude of that. Iran has never advanced beyond the group stage at a men's World Cup, not in any of their previous appearances. And right now, with 1 match remaining, they control their own destiny, in large part because their goalkeeper turned in a performance of the ages under conditions that would have tested any professional athlete. What do you think? Can Iran finish the job against Egypt and reach the knockout stage for the very first time in their history? Would Beiranvand's performance against Belgium go down as the single best goalkeeping display of this entire World Cup if Iran ultimately advances? And which country do you think benefits most from facing a Team Melli side still adjusting to such an unusual tournament schedule? Let me know in the comments.